Man, what up though to my family, my friends, my fans. I do this for y'all.
What's good, everybody? This is the Evolve to Inspire YouTube channel. I'm your entertainer champ, and on today's video we're going to discuss the importance of self-talk. When questioning the importance of anything, the first thing you need to analyze is why is it important in the first place. The reason why self-talk is so important because not only does it reveal your identity to yourself, but it also reveals your identity to the world. Everyone should strive for great self-talk because self-talk is also tied into confidence, and everyone is striving to have as much confidence as they possibly can, or at the very least should be. The better your self-talk is, the better your worldview will be, and of course, you know, there's less than ideal situations that happen to everyone, but if you could just be conscious of the way you talk to yourself, it's going to go a long way, and then it will bleed into your outlook on the world. Adjusting your vocabulary accordingly to have the I ams, I wills, and I cans can change your entire life, and getting rid of the negative self-talk of the I can'ts, I won'ts, I could nevers can definitely change not only your worldview, it will change the ones around you as well because your positivity will rub off on them. And going back to negative self-talk isn't even attractive. Have you ever met somebody and you thought, oh my god, their mindset is so attractive, and they was filled with a bunch of I can'ts, I cannots, I will not, I am not? If they had that and you were attracted to them, automatically you're going to be less attracted to them just based off of their self-vocabulary. Negative self-talk is not attractive. So if you're trying to attract anyone positive in your life, you need to adjust your self-talk because you're not going to be putting out the energy that's going to be attracting the ones that are actually worth having in your life. You're never going to be able to attract the desired outcomes in life. You're going to be putting out negative energy, so you're not only going to be putting out negative energy, you're going to be receiving negative energy. And I'm sure if you're watching this video, you shouldn't be wanting that negative energy. So like I said, don't put it out there. One of my favorite examples is the question of if you can or cannot do it, whatever your answer is, you are 100% right. Because at the end of the day, if you say you can do it, you're going to figure out a way to do it. And if you say you can't do it, you're going to figure out all the ways in which you cannot do it. And with analyzing self-talk, there are two situations you can go forth with. You can help the ones around you that have lacking positive self-talk, or you can get rid of them entirely. You don't want to be putting yourself around people that are not attracting positive energy, so getting rid of those people, it's definitely a decision worth thinking about. A lot of people downplay the importance of self-talk, but at the end of the day, everyone talks to themselves. So how are you treating yourself? If you're treating yourself poorly, you're going to see the outcome of that, and if you're treating yourself positively, with good self-talk, you're also going to see the benefits of that as well. Another thing you have to take into account when talking about positive self-talk is the inputs that you decide to take in. Not only the inputs of the people around you, not only the inputs of the content you consume, but even just the music you listen to can have a huge impact on if you have positive self-talk or if you have negative self-talk. At the end of the day, your inputs are either pushing you forward or they're holding you back. One thing I want you to do is really analyze the self-talk of the people around you. Is it positive or is it negative? Analyze their self-talk. If their self-talk is negative, are they less of a positive person? If their self-talk is positive, are they more of a positive person? I feel like these things need to be analyzed, and that is something that I had to do. And I also had to make some sacrifices of the people I was hanging out with because they were not helping me and they were not even helping themselves. One thing I really observed within recent time was how self-talk reveals a lot about a person without even actually having to have a conversation with that person. And that's very interesting because you don't even need to ask the questions. You can already get the answers just by hearing how they talk to themselves. And one example that I love to use is with school. When I was in school, I was surrounded by a bunch of people who didn't want to be there. I was surrounded by a bunch of people who did not have the best self-talk. They were discouraged to go to the next class. They were discouraged about getting the assignments done. And eventually I seen it wear off on me. For me personally, school wasn't even that bad of an experience, but just because I was around those people, I eventually picked up on some of their negative self-talk, and I even seen myself starting to hate school when in reality, school wasn't even that bad for me. For me personally, my self-talk at first wasn't the best, but I know it was holding me back, so I knew I needed to make the sacrifice in order to get to that next level. The biggest people who had an impact on my life were the people that had positive self-talk. The perfect example of one of the people that helped me with my self-talk was my friend Anthony. Ever since we were children, we had the mindset of nothing can stop us. He always had the utmost confidence in his ability, whether it was irrational or whether it was rational, but at the end of the day, he had this persistent mindset that eventually wore off on me because it was just so contagious and it was so positive that I wanted to be just like that. The question you need to ask yourself is, how is your self-talk? For the next few days, I want you to analyze how you talk to yourself. How do you treat yourself? Are you treating yourself the best way you possibly could? Or do you need to make adjustments in your self-talk? I need you to catch and correct yourself. Whenever you see yourself slacking on your self-talk, if you see yourself falling into a negative mindset, you 100% need to catch it and correct it. These talks with yourself matter. And just to recap, never downplay the importance of self-talk. At the end of the day, negative self-talk is never going to be attractive to anybody. Negative self-talk also must be corrected. Never downplay the role that your environment plays when it comes to your self-talk. If you surround yourself by a bunch of negative people who have negative self-talk, then eventually your self-talk is also going to be negative. And if you surround yourself by a bunch of people who have positive self-talk, then naturally your self-talk is going to be positive. Along with your environment, the inputs that you take in each day is also going to play a big role on whether your self-talk is going to be positive or negative. The next thing is to analyze the self-talk of the people around you. It reveals a lot more about them without even needing to have the conversation with them. And when it comes to self-talk, make sure you catch and correct yourself whenever you feel necessary, because at the end of the day, you are what you say you are. You are just all the stories that you tell yourself. And with wrapping that all up, talking about self-talk, I also have a podcast. It's called the Life of a Champ podcast. I go live at 7 o'clock every single Wednesday and Friday. So if you're interested in me talking about self-talk with other people, make sure you go ahead and click the link below so you can tap into the podcast. To wrap up the video, I hope you took some value from this, and I hope your self-talk changes if it needs to change. Make sure you go to subscribe, because I will be posting later this week. And just to wrap it up, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and stay tuned for the next video.